Good morning and welcome to TAPP Talk number 57. So this is TAPP Talk Live. We are live from Monday to Friday at 10 o'clock, and today we are doing Can a Water Filter Remove Lead from Your Water? So as I said, we're live from Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. and if you'd like to put any comments or questions about anything to do with tapped water, including asking for a demonstration of one of our water filters, then please just pop your comments in the box. And if you're catching the recording as well, you can subscribe to us on YouTube down there and also do the same. You can just pop comments and questions in the box. So let's talk about lead then. First of all, why are we concerned about lead? Well, we're concerned about lead because lead is a toxin. And it causes things like lots of health problems, in particular stunted growth in the young and all sorts of things like that. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the medical consequences of lead because I'm not a medical expert, okay? But you don't want it in your water. You don't want to be drinking it. That's for sure. So let's look at where does it come from, first of all. We know that there is lead used in production in industrial premises and all sorts of kind of both chemical and manufacturing plants. Lead is still used. And what happens is you get some seepage from industrial units into groundwater and then into the water system. And that is why you get some lead. You get some lead in the sea, and that's why when you're using reverse osmosis, you'll get some lead coming through there, but it gets filtered out, and we'll come to that in a moment. And you also get it in pipes, and in both the pipes of the water supply, although much less because most pipes are being replaced as much as possible. And also you get it in some old houses and stuff like that. So lead is all around us. The main places that it will come from is lead pipes and junctions in the buildings. And in fact, in some countries, not in Malta necessarily, but in some countries it's caused a serious problem. So for instance, Michigan and Flint, which are both in the USA, they've had huge problems with lead in pipes. And in fact, what they have done is they have given residents free bottled water whilst they're going through the process of replacing all the pipes. Now, here in Malta, we have not had huge amounts of lead contamination, so that's a good thing. There have been, the last research I could find that had been published about lead in the water in Malta was in 2015. And there were, this was an interesting piece of research that was conducted over lots of different water sources in Malta. The water sources were slightly different in 2015 than they are now. So there was more groundwater and reservoir water being used. And the results of heavy metal contamination across Malta were quite reasonable, especially in concerning lead, for instance. The legal limit at that time on the research was 1 part per million, which is 1 milligram per litre. And there was probably, the levels were less than 1/10 of that in most areas, with some elevated amounts in some parts of Gozo, but still well below the legal limit. So lead has not been an issue in Malta to now. However, you still don't really want it in your water, and the testing points are often before the point of delivery. So that's why here at TAPP Water, we consider that point of delivery filtration is probably your most effective point as a consumer. To produce good quality drinking water, obviously we have reverse osmosis plants, which is a point of source, which is very useful to get your water cleaned up as early as possible. But for you as the consumer, the person that's just about to drink the water, point of delivery is where we think the best filtration can be, because the risk of contamination after point of delivery is very low. So, right now, the best point to filter lead, if it ever gets in the water, between when it's gone through the reverse osmosis plant, through the 2,500 kilometres of piping that's here in Malta, to arrive at your tap in your kitchen, you can filter it out with a filter such as this, which is a tap water filter. This is the Eco Pro. Now, what about some other types of filtration system? Let's get into those. Reverse osmosis, yes, that removes lead, and distillation also works well. However, an activated carbon block, such as in here, will also work, and this is the Eco Pro. As a matter of interest, some people ask me whether boiling works. If you boil the water, does it remove the contaminants? Well, in fact, in a lot of cases, the contaminants you want to remove have a lower boiling point than water. So therefore, when you boil the water, you're letting water off, which means that the contamination is increased in its strength in the water that is left. Something to consider when using non-filtered water for cooking. Which was a recent conversation I had with another customer. So if you're using non-filtered water for cooking, in fact, what you're doing is increasing the contaminant rate in the water if there were things you were particularly interested in. And in fact, that's why you get such a taste difference in using filtered water for cooking rather than using non-filtered tap water. So here's the Eco Pro filter. You just move it out of the casing here, and this is what you're replacing. And you replace that every 3 months, and that will filter out all sorts of things, including the lead. So an activated carbon block like this is a solid block. Now, a solid carbon block looks like this. It has a porosity of 2 microns. And that's what's removing the lead molecules, which are larger than 2 microns. And this is very effective and more effective than granular activated carbon, which is the kind of thing that you get in jug filters. Although that does work to a certain extent, an activated solid carbon block, which provides a solid membrane of 1 to 2 microns on average. And also the activated carbon block is you get lots of pores that are different sizes. So it removes lots of different types of impurities. And that's a very important thing, as well as a very, very wide surface area. And we're covering that on Monday, actually. We're doing activated carbon blocks. Why is coconut a good resource for activated carbon blocks? So an activated carbon block like this, a solid block, which is activated carbon made of coconut, very good at removing lead. Now, what about how you can be sure? Well, the best way to look at that is to see the National Standards Foundation. So the NFS tests. NSF tests are global, they're worldwide. It's in 180 different countries. The NSF is an organization that's independent. So it's not a country-based organization, it's totally independent. And they have testing standards for food and, for instance, for water filters. And there are 2 standards that we're interested in. Standard number 42, the NFS standard 42, you're interested if your water filter meets that criteria as an independent test. And 42 is about chlorine and chloramine. And tap water filters meet standard NSF 42. And for lead, you're interested in standard number 53. And if you check your jug filters, for instance, that they meet NSF standard 53, many of them do. But what they found in Michigan and Flint is that the jug filters they were using, there were a proportion of them that did not meet the criteria to resolve the problem they had, which was lead pollution. So do check that your water filter jug, if you're using one, meets standard NSF 53. There are several brands in Malta that do meet that. There are some that don't. And this is a TAPP Eco Pro. This meets standard NSF 53, as does the as does the Pitcher Pro, which is our water jug filter. This filters as it pours, so you don't have to wait for it. You don't have to wait for water to fill up. So if I could remind you, if you are online, welcome. I can see some of you online today. Thank you for joining us. Do put your comments and questions in the comment box about lead or anything to do with any of the other water filters. We also have the Bottle Pro. This is one of the only, I think it is the only water bottle available in Malta that has a filter inside it. So this has a filter inside it, and all you do to remove the filter is this. It has a very similar filter to the one in the Pitcher Pro, the jug, and this also meets NSF standard 53 for lead, which is great if you're on the go and you want to fill up your water at any public water supply tap. Then that's really useful because you can do that and have filtered water on the go. So thank you for joining us this morning. There were some tests done, not here in Malta but abroad, on water jugs, and there were several. I'm not going to say the brand names, but there were several major brand names that you would expect to find here in Malta as well. And those are removing around 75% of any lead in the water, even if it's at low concentrations. The tap water filters tested to standard NSF 53 are removing 95% plus of lead and, in fact, many of the other heavy metals that we're interested in. And we've written an article on that. So 95% plus. So their testing standards go to 95% and then 95% plus. So that's what we're certified for. You can see the independent test results on our website at www.tappwater.mt/tests. We have test results for the water filter done here in Malta, which we did in December 2020, which showed great results on the filtered water. And also we've got the independent test results and certifications of all the products, which are done globally by TAPP Water, which is now distributed in over 30 different countries. So, and if you would like some more details on how the filter system actually works, then you can get that at tappwater.mt/filtration, and then you'll see how the system actually works. And then finally, if you'd like to have a look at all the other live shows and the various topics that we've covered, now that we are on, number 57, so 57 other topics there and some interviews with some other people, you can catch that on tappwater.mt/live. So thank you for joining us today. Let me just take that off the screen. Thank you very much for joining us today. I can see you're still online. If you have any comments or questions, please pop them in the box. And if you're watching the recording, please do that as well. And we will be able to respond to those as soon as we see them. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel for more interesting facts about water here in Malta and also tap water filters. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week on Monday. We are talking about coconut and why coconut is the best source for an activated carbon block. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you soon.